Hey YouTube, Jay Kilroy here. Got a little project. Let me bring it over. This is a tailstock to a Model 90 Powermatic wood lathe that a local customer has purchased for his wood chucking hobby. And there's some other parts we'll have to work on. Right off the bat, there's some issues. Here's the here is the there. Oh, there we go. The barrel for the tailstock. It actually it fits pretty good. There's not a lot of appreciable slack in it, especially for an older machine like this. I believe this is an early '60s machine. Let me get you the problem. Here's the problem. It's the screw that actuates the tailstock barrel. Here is the end cap. It goes here, like so. There's only one problem there, and then the handle goes on here, and then the nut. There's only one problem. Well, it's a pretty big problem. It seems that somebody's used it for an extended period of time. There's supposed to be a bearing in here, a thrust bearing. It's a brand name Nice, part number 6031/4V or 4 6031/4. I cannot find one in stock anywhere to buy, but so what's happened is, you'll see here on this shoulder, it has mushroomed out considerably, where it has worn in here against this cast iron component. So what we're going to do is we are going to clean this up here, clean this barrel up. It's kind of gouged up, as you would expect. We're going to make a bushing to go in here to replace the thrust bearing and give us some resistance to the thrust forces of the tailstock. And and then what we also need to do is there's a center that's busted. Well, that's, notice no bearings in here. This is a wood chucking style live center. It's a Morse Taper 2 tailstock. This was stuck in the tailstock completely. I had to disassemble the tailstock, run a piece of drill rod back in through the barrel to knock that out. It was in there quite tightly. He was using it just basically permanently with this live center. So we're gonna reassemble this live center that he has for this tailstock. We're gonna clean up the internals on the Morse taper are pretty good, actually. I guess courtesy of this piece being stuck in there for God knows how many years, since probably before I was born. It really hasn't received much use. So you know, that seems to be fine. So first thing we need to do is we're going to take this screw here over to the lathe, and we're going to clean up this really nasty shoulder and this portion of the shaft. Let me see if I can get you in there so you can see that. It's really pretty foul. You can see where there's some knurling by vice grip there on the shaft. There's some scratches all the way around. It's been manhandled, put it that way. And we're going to build kind of a hybrid bushing. We're going to build a spacer to go in here, an aluminum spacer to go in here, and then I've got this bronze oil light bushing here, and we're going to use this bronze oil light bushing to insert into the aluminum spacer to give us some support. We'll have to counterbore back into here to give us room for this. So the bushing will actually go a good portion of the way up into the casting as well. So it'll give us a thrust face, and then it will support the handle shaft back up into this cast iron piece. So let's get this over to the lathe and clean this baby up. All right, we're over here at the rivet, and this is going to be pretty quick. Very quick, actually. Oh, wrong way. Got the diamond tool holder in here with a little piece of high-speed steel. I'm just feeding across here until I clean this up. That's probably good right there. It's better. I still got a little take off of there. That was pretty good there. Now there's pretty considerable built up edge. I don't know what this really looked like when it was new, because it's been, this part and the little end cap have been in the process of destroying each other for years, so there's really no way to tell. But all this up here is really just messed up. It's supposed to be a 1/2 inch, and it measures, well, it's a little over 1/2. It's not too far off. Yeah, it's 544, so it's a good ways off, and then the rest of the shaft is about right on 501. So 44 thou, it's no insignificant amount. So we're going to clean this up here and then put some emery on this and get this. Don't want to take any material off back here that I don't have to. I want to leave this all full size. See what that looks like here. Yeah, it was definitely, you still see some of the original roughness there, but let's get some paper on it and clean it up a little bit. Right. Let's get our bushing. Check our fit. Still nice. Still tight up here. I'm gonna have to trim this back a little more. It's still tight right here, right where it meets the shoulder. There's still a little bit too much material right here, so I need to see what I can do about that. Well, we got a slight change in plans here. I went and dug through my stash, and I found this nice little 3-part ball bearing thrust bearing. I had a couple of them, and makes for a nice fit, right? Obviously superior in many ways to the bronze oil light that I was going to use there. So with the hardened washer here to go up against this thrust face, fits very nice. So I'm going to modify my plans to use this thrust bearing. So what we'll have to do in the bushing that we make to go in here to fill out this is where that original thrust bearing is supposed to go. What we'll have to do is we'll have to compensate for the length of this, so that the length of this and the bushing turn out to be the same thickness as the original thrust bearing. So we got this cleaned up here. This is looking a lot better. Got rid of that built up edge, big burr basically. I went and looked up the stock bearing. It's a nice 6031/4, which I can't find in stock anywhere. And it has a factory thickness of 0.344, 344 thou. The stack height on this thrust bearing is 250. It's a 1/4 of an inch. So quick math here, courtesy of my calipers. I need basically a washer of 94 thou thickness to sit in this hole here to back up this washer to give us the original stack thickness of the original bearing. So what do I have? I had this washer out earlier. This is a bronze thrust washer, way too thick. That's over 200 thou. Let me just get a little material, and we're just gonna chew off a little We're going to oversize drill the center and then chew off a 94 thousandths thickness with the parting tool to make up our insert to go in here to allow us to achieve that original tolerance. So let's get to that. All right, I had a little piece of something laying around here. Neutral piece of steel. So we're going to face this off real quick. Put a nice chamfer. Yeah, we better go for ID. This stuff measures 1 1/8, so we're about 1/8 of an inch too big. I need a little less than an inch. So take the skim cut. I'm at 121, so I need to take 121 off. I'm going to zero my dial. Really need to put a DRO on this thing. And let's take off 100 of that 120. Check. All right, I got 22 left, so I almost hit that right on the number. So let's just dial all that in. Let's take off 23. Just hand feeding. Running about 1,000 RPM. Woo, that was hot chip. Alright, we can take that 3 thou under, which is exactly where I need to be. We need to drill this baby out. Little A-bomb dark cutting oil there. Uh-oh. Might want to actually tighten the drill chuck. Now let's try that. Well, it's amazing how much better that works when you actually are cutting. Alrighty. Slow it down a little bit. About 750. That's plenty right there. Let me take a little bit more. Alrighty. I got my parting tool in here, and I have moved my tool post recently, so I got to make sure I'm square, and that face on that part is freshly faced off, so that's just about as square as going to get. So loosen it up, pull it up against the part. There you go. So set to my 94th thou. We're gonna set to 95. How about that? 96. That ain't much. Not much at all. Oh, by the way, I'm in back gear. Speed it up a little bit. That might be a little slow. Got the A-bomb cutting fluid here and the man dispenser. I'm never one to waste the lube. I mean, not use it. Tell you what, I just told you I was gonna chamfer. I got so excited parting that I just stopped. One of the things I like about this tool is the tip stands proud of the end, and you can cut on the back side for a little operation like this. Of course, I gotta find my there we go. So we got our little washer, which I cut just a little bit big, and I mean thick on purpose. And boy, this thing's beat up pretty bad. Not in any way that, ooh-wee. I opened my big mouth. There's a big old groove gouge in here, which I don't think I can get on camera, but it looks real nasty. So anyway, I cut this a little bit thick. This drops in here like so. Then our 3-piece thrush washer drops in here. Came out about 4 thou thicker, well, 6 thou thicker. The original bearing is 344. We came out 350 even. This goes on here like so, and then this screws into the tailstock barrel, and then this screws in. There's a single spanner notch and secures this whole thing in place. So let me get a little grease for this bearing here, and there isn't a way to really lube this. It's a woodchuck lathe. You don't really want a lot of heavy lube apparent on your working surfaces, because they'll just coat down with dirt. You know, with sawdust, it'll turn to mud. You'll never really get it off of there. So let me get a little grease, and we will lube this and put this together. Got a little good old-fashioned trailer bearing grease, which works out real well. Gonna put a little light coat on this washer just to keep it from corroding in there if it's exposed to humidity. And then our 3-piece bearing stack. Let's get that in place. Drop the insert in there. Lube on the threads there just to make things go nice and easy. It's a left-hand thread. I believe it's about a it's a 10 pitch, 1/2 inch by 10 left-hand Acme. It's apparent that it's received significant use. This thing has been put to use. So I don't know if this, I mean, look at this. Woo-hoo! Boring and resizing the thread on this is beyond the scope of the project, as I believe Adam has said, not financially feasible. All right. And we are right on the 0 too, so I'm really pleased about that. Pretty close, maybe a few thou proud, but it's woodchuck. There's a little key. Little Woodruff key here. There's my little Woodruff key. The original handle. Go. There's a set screw here to lock that key down, and the factory locking nut. So there we go. Our buddy, the Woodchuck Maestro, is much better off than he was just a couple days ago. So let me set this to the side and show you the next more challenging piece of repairs for this lathe. This isn't really repair, this is an adaptation. You're gonna like this. Alright, so here is his work stop that he currently uses. I believe this is a Powermatic original work stop. It is nicely made casting with a center in both ends. You know, like parts are supposed to be made, right? So it's a nicely made part. The OD on the shaft here is 1 1/8. 1 1/8. Well, it tapers a little bit. It's about 127 up here at the top, about 121 at the bottom. But you get the idea. This thing just sits down in a hole, and in order to change parts, you just pull it out and slap in another one. Enter work rest number 2. Notice the coloration is different. The part number on this work rest is L22. If anyone wants to look that up. Plug time. Hold on. All of the manuals and parts diagrams for these various Powermatic classic woodworking machines are available freely from vintagemachinery.org, Keith Rucker's fine establishment. I was able to find, I didn't even know what model this went to. I was able to figure it out looking at his manuals. I thought it was a model 45, and it wasn't. Then I realized it was a model 90. This work stop, which is a 12-inch work stop, work rest for a wood lathe tool, is part number DDL12. And there's a big number 1 right here. And if you measure it, it's a big number 1. So this, he wants upsized to this so that he can drop this work rest, this tool rest, into the same hardware that he's got now. It's just not big enough. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a sleeve to bump this up to the 1 1/8 that it needs to be to go on the work rest. Also, we're going to have some work holding fun, because as an added bonus, I want to get this in the mill and skim cut the tops. This work rest is pretty beat up. Take a skim cut. It's actually a double angle bevel. There's a pretty much a flat surface here, then a relief. I want to skim cut these 2 working surfaces here to clean that up nicely. And while we're doing it, and while we're set up, we'll do the same for this tool rest as well. So that's going to be part 2 of the while we're still on part 1, let's slap a bearing back in this baby right here. I don't know anything about this type of live steady. This piece here has got a set screw and is removable. Pretty worn. The interior here is beat all to get out. And it's going to need to be doubly pressed, so let's get to doing that. All right, not wanting to get out the old arbor press, we're just going to use the vise to do this. I get a lot of questions about this vise. It's a European style vise with a rigid front jaw and a movable back jaw. These were sold at one time as a store brand from Travers, and a well-made vise it is, and I have got a ton of use out of it. And it makes for a handy little press too. All right, let's get the other part on there and finish this job up. Okay, I had to take this little piece off here. I'm assuming that maybe these came with changeable ends for different types of work, for ID or OD work maybe, or different size work pieces. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about these things. But we're just going to do the same thing we just did here again. So the ID on this piece was so gnarled up, I had to chuck it into the lathe, put a boring tool on it, and cut the burr out of it. There were some big gouges in here around the circumference, and they had raised some big burrs, and probably happened when somebody disassembled this in a hasty manner and raised some huge burrs in there. So I had to chuck this in the lathe and put a boring bar in there and clean that surface up. It was just awful. And this is hard too. But the bearing's in. It's a very nice, smooth fit. And I'm going to put his center back together. And there we go. Returned service for hopefully another, I think he said this is a 1960s vintage machine, so assuming this is the same age, 60, 70, 80, 90, 2000, this is 60 years old, right? So close to it. So hopefully this machine will be turning out tacky furniture you see at flea markets all over the country for many years to come. Like I said, next, work holding funness. To hold this, might actually have to make some soft jaws to hold it maybe, or look at that profile. There's not really this is fairly flat, but I guess I could just hold it by the OD and then tilt the head on the KT to pick up the angle, and then give it a run that way. That would probably work with a light enough cut, keep the part from spinning. Anyway, that will be in part 2. What else has been going on in the shop? Lots of work, been staying real busy. Not been having as much time to do what I would consider interesting projects or work that my customers will allow me to share with you. So that's probably a bigger issue than you might realize. But anyway, it's getting hot. Summertime's coming. AC in the shop needs a little work. Ugh, that's not good. And we've been doing some cleaning and rearranging in here, so that's good. Been watching everybody's videos as usual. Randy Richard. See, he's doing some viewer projects. Oh, got a story. So the other day, I'm out and about. You notice I'm wearing my A-Bomb t-shirt. I was over in Jackson, Mississippi at the Children's Museum with my kids for my son's 7th birthday. We had a great time. While I was there, I'm standing around kind of just you know, herding cats. We had like 7 kids. So I'm herding cats. I'm wearing the A-Bomb shirt. Gentleman sitting there, he's also herding cats, and he says, "Hey, what's the micrometer on your shirt?" So we get into a conversation. And anyway, Adam, I am happy to report that you and I both have a new subscriber, probably. He did not know of your channel nor my channel, but he was a regular of Keith Fenner's channel, and he was a regular of Mr. Pete, the godfather of YouTube Machinist. He was a regular of Mr. Pete 222's channel. Anyway, it was a nice conversation. We had a nice conversation about shops, the kind of tools that I had in my shop. Of course, I invited him to visit my shop if he ever comes by this way. And if anybody else is traveling down I-20 and wants to visit, my email's at the end of the video. Please just drop me a line and let me see what we can set up. Anyway, it was kind of cool. I'd never had anybody kind of, you know, ask questions that way. So there you go. We're minor celebrities. So anyway, you guys be safe in the shop, and I'll be back with you soon.